The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to Talk Live Paranormal tonight. I am your host, Shannon Griffin. For those of you that don't know me, I've been in the paranormal field for the last 4 to 5 years, and for the last 2.5 years, and currently I still work for Ghost Hunts USA. For those of you that are not familiar with Ghost Hunts USA, Ghost Hunts USA is an event company that rents out locations. They give guests the opportunity to investigate certain locations with experienced staff members. Then the guests have free roam of the location. Some of our locations also let guests spend the night anywhere in the location. Most don't sleep though. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my guests in tonight. They are very dear friends of mine. I met 3 of the 4 guests that I have tonight back in 2016 at Ashmore Estates in Ashmore, Illinois. So I'm going to go ahead and bring them in. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, this is Kelly, Bill, Amy, and Michelle from Riverside, Iowa Paranormal. Go ahead, guys.
Hey, Shannon, this is Michelle. Thank you for having us on your show. I'm real excited to talk some paranormal tonight. I'm going to send it on over to Amy.
Hi, Shannon. This is Amy. Happy to be on. Thank you.
Hi, Shannon. It's Bill. Nice to hear from you again.
Hi, Shannon. This is Kelly. It's good to be on the air with you.
Guys, for being on here tonight. Real quick, I want, if you guys would, talk a little bit about, now you guys work for Ghost Hunts USA as well now, correct?
Correct. But we do have our own group, which is Riverside, Iowa Paranormal, and we do the events with Ghost Hunts USA, but we also do a lot of the private paranormal investigations for clients who call in and need help with anything paranormal.
With residential homes?
Yes, residential homes, businesses, their land. We normally kind of assess the situation and then go from there.
Awesome. Yeah, Beth and I, outside of Ghost Hunts USA, we also have our own paranormal team, which is BAB Paranormal, and it stands for Badass Bitches Paranormal. I'm not lying. That's really what it means.
And you are. Badass
what?
bitches, right?
What?
You are badass bitches.
Well, we're all badass bitches. Every female's a badass bitch. They just need to let it out.
That's right.
So can you tell people a little bit about your guys' paranormal team, how you guys came together, where you're out of? I know you're out of Iowa, but the general area.
Yeah.
Bill, you want to take that?
I can go ahead and do that.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Well, we're actually by Iowa City. That would be maybe our central area. We've been together over 5 years and have been working real close on this. We end up meeting there at Ashmore, and we kind of like that full event to kind of keep giving us practice, working with our, little gadgets and stuff like that. And that's why we started some things with Ghost Hunts USA.
Now, when I met you guys, did you guys get any good evidence from that weekend that I met you guys?
Yeah, actually we did. We got some good EVPs.
And it was it was an awesome experience.
Yes, it was.
Was that your guys' first Ghost Hunts USA event?
Yes.
Yes.
And how were the staff?
The staff were outstanding.
In
Yes,
their
they
field.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
The staff reminded me of the Scarecrow when they got a promotion. They were outstanding in their field.
Wow, we went to the jokes already.
Oh my God. All right, so let's see. Michelle, I got a question just for you.
Okay.
I want to know, what kind of faith do you bring into your investigations, whether it's religious or non-religious?
I kind of bring in more of a religious faith when I go in to do an investigation. I keep my prayers close, the holy water. I always call on Archangel Michael. I keep him close by, so if something bad happens, I have that protection.
I think a lot of us feel the same as you.
And
let's see, Amy. Amy,
Yes,
are you
ma'am.
there?
Yeah.
All right. What piqued your interest into the paranormal? Was it a childhood memory, or did this come around as an adult?
I did have experiences as a child. Of course, typical told, oh, it's just your imagination, it's not real. So after a while, you kind of lose that ability. But what happened for me is a little different than Michelle. I had a very spiritual experience with, I guess you could say it's paranormal. It's with spirit guide. And that's kind of what got me started on a more spiritual level, and then hooked up with Michelle and got more into the paranormal side of it.
Now, I know you guys, I heard Michelle say you guys have been together for, what, about 5 years?
Yeah, about that.
Have you guys known each other longer than that?
yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Beth and I. Beth and I have been friends since like early 2000s, but didn't start investigating till like 2000. Well, she was more into it than I was. It actually wasn't until we went to Crown Point, Indiana, to investigate at the Crown Point jail, and it took her getting scratched for me to say, "Oh, I think let's start our own paranormal group." And it took me a while to have anything happen to me. I mean, I've been scratched one time. I'm knocking on wood because I really don't want it to happen again. Got lucky, but I was an adult when this all came about with me. With Beth, she's had it her whole life practically, and she understands it better now. So the more I'm around her and thing with Tyler and Pam and all them who we work with as well, it's just my senses come out a little more. They tell me I have stuff, but I don't really let it shine, I guess.
Well, that's like with me and Amy. I do more of the the side of the religious side, with her going in the spiritual.
Right.
And Kelly also, when you mix us all together, the end, product is completely done, but we're coming from different angles. And especially when you're doing the private sector, you got to remember everybody has different beliefs. And
Right.
I think that's what makes our team pretty strong, because, if you're out and saying you're a paranormal group, you can't just disregard of what people think, whether they believe in fairies or ghosts. You have to approach both of them the same exact way. And
Right.
that's kind of how we all mix real well together, because we can bounce off each other to help those in need.
Do you guys get a lot of stuff at residential? I mean, as far as evidence-wise, have you guys helped out a lot of people?
Yeah, we have. And the good thing is, since we do all this with ghost hunts, that's kind of, like I said, that's our free time and our enjoyable time with the paranormal. But it gets a little bit deeper when we're with, the clients, because normally you have children involved, or, you have parents that just don't know what to do anymore. So we actually approach that a lot different than we do with ghost hunts.
Right. I can see that. Beth and I do the same thing. We did a couple of residential houses. It is completely different when you're in the Ghost Hunts USA, world of things. It's basically focused. Even when you're in a residential, it's still focused on, person living there, like it is all of our guests. But
Well, and you, depending on what's going on in the situation, come at it from different perspectives. Think ultimately we have the same goal, and that is to,
to
families
basically
want,
help your client, yeah.
Well, they would like to have evidence if they can, but the bottom line is they want whatever's happening to stop.
Right.
And so can't just be a straight investigation without any assistance of some kind.
This is true. Well, let's Kelly, since Kelly's so quiet, I'm going to ask Kelly a question real quick.
Okay.
Kelly, you're quiet anyway. Even face to face, you're pretty quiet.
Yep, I am.
What was your most memorable moment investigating, and where were you guys at?
It's kind of a toss-up between Ashmore and Gettysburg, but I think it'd be Ashmore because I was in a room in there and I was by myself and it was dark and I was going to take a picture. I brought the camera up and there was an old bed there, and as I brought the camera up, there was something that crawled underneath the bed, and I just went, "Oh shit!" And then everybody says, "You okay?" I says, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then I didn't get the picture of it, but it was kind of amazing to see something in the camera crawl underneath.
But yeah, she crawled under the bed after it.
No, I didn't.
What'd she do? Look that he muted it.
Bill says that I crawl underneath the bed and was trying to chase it, and I'm like, no, I'm not. He wasn't even there. He wasn't even doing that stuff yet.
Which floor were you on?
It was on I think it was on the first floor, I believe it is. Is when you walk past the bathrooms, and I think it was like the first or second door on the left, because there was that one bed that was in there, and it had that little stuffed animal on it.
Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, that's where it was at.
A lot of people at Ashmore see more stuff up on the second floor, like around the nurses' station.
Mm-hmm.
And about midway down.
Yeah, I know we did in that one room that we were in over by the nurses' station. There was a lot of activity going on in there.
In the back corner by the stairwell?
No, you got the nurses' station, and then you walk in, and there's a small room.
Off to the right?
Well, kind of off to the left. If you're standing it depends on which way you're standing at the nurses' station.
Your other right, Shannon.
Oh, my redneck right?
Your redneck right.
Okay, yeah. I got it.
Yeah. But we also got a lot of activity down in the I think it was the boiler room down there. Because I got tugged on. I was starting to walk over, and it's like something was pulling on my jacket, telling me, like, no, you don't need to go over there. And I thought it was something hanging down, and it wasn't even that. It was something was pulling on me.
Was this the night that we were all there, or was this a different night?
Nope, that was the night that you were all there.
Was I sleeping?
Actually, we were with Ashley.
Yeah, Ashley was down there, and then Ashley finally said, "This is too much. We need to go upstairs and take a break."
I love Ashley. God love her.
Yeah.
I get to work with her this weekend at West Virginia State Pen.
Awesome.
Well, that'll be cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen her. Have you guys been out to West Virginia State Pen yet?
No.
I haven't been out there yet either. I'm excited. All right, Bill. Quiet Bill.
Hi.
Which is very unusual.
I know.
Well,
usually
listen,
Bill talks a lot.
I'm in a room full of women. You think I get a word in edgewise? Come on.
You're not completely in here with women. The producer's in here. He's a man.
There you go.
It'll be okay, Bill. One's your wife. You're all right. Kelly, go hold his hand so he can talk.
Okay, I will.
You need to know something about Bill is that we call him the scratch magnet.
Yeah, you think you can scratch
magnet?
Shannon every place we go. This last weekend we were up at Edinburgh Manor, and it was down in the basement, and I got a big, huge scratch across my cheek.
Pretty much everywhere we go,
Yeah,
Bill gets scratched.
the cheek on my face, not the cheek on my butt. Okay, it was up top, not down below.
What are you doing to provoke these female spirits, Bill?
He was talking.
He was
Wow.
talking. Ouch.
Wow.
His mouth was moving.
You want me to mute him, Bill?
I'm good, I guess. I have a tendency to, when I'm provoking people to kind of provoking things to get a little verbal, and it seems to work. And then they kind of tell me when I'm done.
Ah, so you're a provoker, huh?
Well, that's what the judge said. So
You have to register for that too.
Get activity, Bill, when you're not provoking, or do you feel you need to provoke to get it?
No, it depends on. I don't know. It depends on the way I feel in the room or feel in the area. Sometimes it's just you can just feel things there, and it'll just all of a sudden start. And you don't have to provoke. You can just sit quietly, and things will happen. Then sometimes it's just easier to sometimes open my big mouth and see what's going to come out of me to see what's going to happen and what's going to get provoked.
See what's going to come out of them.
Yeah.
I gotta realize that even when Bill's just being going, he's loud.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Bill, they pick on you a lot, don't they, Bill?
We love that about him, though.
You know, after all the times that I've driven halfway across the United States with most of these guys, it's pretty much you get used to it, or you tone it out. I think it's called marriage.
We're only married to one of them.
It's called paranormal marriage.
Wait, Shannon. Sometimes it feels like I'm married to all of them.
we're the sister wives.
Ah, okay, I got you.
It's the para wives.
Para wives. There you go.
I know Bill is Bill the only techie one out of your group?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Poor Bill. What is your take, Bill, on full spectrum cameras and non-spectrum cameras?
Wow, big technical one.
Kentucky.
Full spectrum, not. I don't know. I really haven't had a whole lot of experience with the. I guess really haven't sat down and compared both of them side by side. I think there's good aspects and bad aspects for both of them. Sometimes, you're setting up a camera. Cameras to me sometimes are limited, and you're limited to what you can possibly do. And if you can put a full spectrum and a non-spectrum right side by side, you're gonna get stuff. You're gonna. What is that, Michelle? What's the name of that? Pareidolia?
Yeah, pareidolia.
Pareidolia.
Yeah.
You may see something that's not there, but your eyes will play tricks on you even through a camera.
Oh yeah, I believe it. I mean, I've used full spectrum quite a bit, and then the very first time that we went and investigated at Post Town Elementary School, I had just a regular GoPro Hero 3 on my forehead, mounted to my forehead, and it was complete pitch black, laser grid on the far wall. And when we went back and reviewed it, there was a full white misty face. I mean, full faced apparition. That I've never caught anything like that on a full spectrum camera.
I do believe, and I think Michelle's kind of the same way we've been talking about it. Old school is better. Sometimes using the older stuff is you're gonna get more. It's almost like there's been so much put into all this new equipment to not allow you to see things just so you can just get what's clearly in front of you, that we miss all sorts of stuff that's all the way around us with the new cameras. And you take some of the older ones in there, you're gonna get better pictures.
And I mean, it's weird because I mean, I've reviewed hours and hours of full spectrum video and never saw anything, not even an orb. And then get a regular camera, and I mean, I wish I would have saw it the night it happened, just for the fact that it was like 2 feet from my face.
And if you use an old 35 millimeter camera, those will give you the best pictures ever instead of, the ones that you see right away and download. Because Bill's right, it's like all this new technical stuff, it cleans everything up so everybody has that perfect picture, but that's why we miss a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, it just makes it harder to capture.
We've had actually some people on the last couple hunts we've done at Edinburgh that have brought in, those little disposable cameras?
Yeah.
They bring those in constantly. They're catching stuff that we're not, just because it's old school.
That's
and
right.
if it wouldn't be so expensive to get it all developed all the time, that'd be one of the best things to do. But you just, I don't know. We had one gentleman on this last hunt brought his daughter's Minnie Mouse Polaroid camera, and that makes the instant photos. And he got several things that we can't. We looked at the pictures, and I just kind of look and going, okay, none of my stuff's picking that up. Why is yours? So I don't. That's not fair.
We had a guy come out to Randolph County Asylum that had a little one of those small Polaroid cameras, and I don't know if he caught anything with it, but I mean, he took a lot of pictures with them, and the pictures come out actually really, really clear.
Yeah,
my daughter's got one now. I might have to steal hers and try it out.
You know, it's. I always said that people need to look at what they're using. Everybody's jumping on the bandwagon of all the new equipment and the new this and the new that. Well, take 2 steps back. Look at some of them old photos. Some of them older photos, they capture stuff they didn't even know they were capturing. And maybe that's the way to go on half these things. You try both sides, and if you're gonna go out and set it up, start with some newer stuff. At the same time, use some of them old Polaroid cameras or use some of them old flash photography, and got to go get the film developed. It's going to take you a while to get your results, but you never know what you're going to catch. It's going to be different.
I never thought about using all these old cameras.
Yeah, me and Bill been talking about it a lot because I even use vaginal powder. So, this way it's got that cool breeze smell. So if a ghost walks by, we're not just going to get the prints, but it'll also have a smell to it that we know.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I can't believe you just said that.
Well, it's the truth.
Straight to turn.
No, it's the truth. It's standing down. It's part of our ghost pack. And it is
cold. Just use regular powder?
Well,
it had to be vaginal powder?
It is. Well, the vaginal powder has a smell to it. So when you put it down there, if it goes through...
Put it down where?
On the floor.
Maybe that's how that lady knew she was having sex with ghosts.
Because she was putting it down there. And
my God.
And then every once in a while you get that smell of, cool breeze. Something must be in here with me.
Well, when you started this conversation, we were talking about cameras and putting it down there, and I'm like, what is this about, and where's it going?
Hey, Bill was talking about it, not me.
And we went there because...
No, you went there, Michelle.
There.
Okay, but you guys followed me.
Well, true.
We are paranormal people.
Yeah.
We are a different breed.
That's true.
Yep.
Ain't that truth?
So, another thing I want to bring up, which, we could probably talk a while about, is when we were all out at Missouri State Penitentiary for 3 or 4 days.
I think we lived there, and they didn't even give us bread and water, so I'm not really sure what went wrong there.
Oh.
And then I had this partner with me, and I thought, she had my back. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there, and I hear, "Belle stole your cigarettes. Go mess with her." And I'm thinking, really? Throw me under the bus with the ghost? So I had to turn around and say, well, she actually stole your fruit cup. And it just kind of went on and on like that. So, just saying.
So wait. I'm starting to notice a pattern here. So Shannon, she threw you under the bus.
I threw you under the bus first.
Yep.
Well, but still, it still had Michelle in it, so I'm seeing a pattern.
Yep.
Not this last time in Edinburgh, but the time before. Okay, so I'm not saying that I get scared easily, but everybody gets scared. But we were doing a walkthrough, showing some people the hallway in the basement, and Michelle just out of the blue goes, "Bill, there's something in the room next to you." And I flashed the flashlight into the room, and the only way I can explain it is if you've ever seen the old movie Phantasm.
Of course.
And the old guy, the Undertaker, he was standing in that doorway and scared the living hell out of me.
Like you could actually see what he was wearing and tell
full body.
I am swear to God, Shannon, I have never wanted to I wanted to crawl in a corner on the floor and pee my pants.
But you froze, right?
No, I jumped back about 20 feet.
And when he jumped back 20 feet, the guest jumped back 10 feet, and then all of a sudden a rush of super cold air, almost like, when you see the big waves hit the beach. went right in between all the guests and split everybody up like Jesus had parted the water.
And all the
So
guests
the whole
jumped.
group.
The whole group.
Yeah, everybody got. Yeah, it hit everybody.
Those are the experiences you hope your guests have every weekend.
Well, we tried to pay him to do it again, and he said we weren't offering him enough money, so he'll just do it when he wants to.
Oh, that's what the spirit said to you?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Are you, are you talking about Bill now?
No, I'm talking about the spirit. The spirit goes, that ain't my job.
Now this is at Edinburgh, you said?
Edinburgh, yes.
So have you seen him again since you guys go back out there?
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
say the females have. So the gentleman that's down in the basement loves the females. We have had women groped, patted on the behind, boobs grabbed, hair pulled,
We
and
actually had
whispering.
I need
We
to
had-
go to Edinburgh.
I
we had
know.
we had one young lady who actually ran out of the building, and when she was asked what happened, she said there was a hand down my pants.
What?
She swears
know.
that she would not come back in.
And you wonder
was
why
done.
we carry vaginal powder.
Oh my god. We're going to keep coming back to that vaginal powder, ain't we?
Unfortunately, I think we are.
So, I'm not familiar with Edinburgh. Like, I haven't even looked it up. I know nothing about it. Can you guys tell me a little bit about Edinburgh Manor?
Sure, I can go through my whole spiel.
Your thing.
Edinburgh Manor started out as a poor farm in the 1800s in Iowa, and every state used to have a poor farm. And for those who don't know what a poor farm is, if you lost your job or you were married, like women weren't allowed to own property in the state of Iowa back in the 1800s. So if you were married and your husband passed away, you lost that property, and you weren't allowed to grab your shopping cart and go live underneath the bridge downtown in a big city like they do now. You were sent there to work. So it went on as a poor farm until 1910 when they came in and built the big building that's there now, the one we keep going to, and they turned it into an insane asylum where they brought people in, and the people that were brought in were considered to be unwanted in like any community. People with Down syndrome, people with schizophrenia, people who just had mental issues. Unfortunately, most of the time, and this didn't just happen in Iowa, this happened all over the United States, people would bring their family members from different states, like from Illinois and from Missouri and Wisconsin. They'd bring them to Edinburgh, sometimes in the middle of the night, and drop them at the front door and never come back.
So that's kind of like what they did at Randolph County Asylum.
Yeah,
The
and
poor farm, they did the
that
same thing.
Yeah, they did. People just got dropped off there, and they were left there, and that's where they died, and that's where they were. They were just treated as they weren't human. There was not, and I can't say they were even treated. They were just locked up pretty much and put away. And Edinburgh Manor didn't close down until 2010. The state actually came in and told the company that was running Edinburgh in late 2009, we're going to more than quadruple your rent. It's for the upkeep of the building. And they said, well, we can go down the street and rent part of this hospital down here for cheaper. They said, fine, you have 48 hours, get everyone out. And it happened that quick, just get out. So they shot them all out of there, and they closed the building down, and it was sold to a private owner. I think Michelle, was it 4 years ago?
Yes.
And so that gentleman, he bought it by accident, actually.
He got
No,
it
he
in
bought it.
2011. He got it right
2011.
after they closed down.
Okay, so yeah, he bought it by accident, and didn't know what to do with it. And then someone had suggested to him, "Hey, open it up and let people come through here because there's people that are they guarantee it's haunted." And so he just started opening it up, and then this January was our first time up there. Of course, it had to be like negative 20 degrees here when we went to our first one, because Tyler doesn't know how to watch a weather map, I don't think.
Hey, we all freeze. It doesn't matter what location we are sent to in the wintertime. We all freeze.
The nice part was they came in February, and it was pretty much the same temperature, so...
Now, I do like Ohio State Reformatory, they do have heated spots. Like their break room is heated and everything, so you do have a place to go warm up. But I mean, if you go to like Bobby Mackey's is freezing cold. You know, Beth was saying, I just talked to her earlier that her and Ann worked out at Bobby Mackey's last Thursday, and it was freezing cold. People were leaving early because it was so cold. A lot of our events in the wintertime are that way.
We've had that too, where, you know, they come with you know, really planning to stay, and then they recognize how awful cold it is. They just decide, you know, we had fun, we're not going any further, we're done, we're cold. So, but that's okay, because they do, you know, even the people who've left, you know, we check in with everybody, and they all are having such a great time. Yeah, and they do. They've all had a really great time and enjoyed themselves, and so that's always good. Even with it being cold, they've had fun.
Well, just like when we were in Missouri, we had that really cold night, and then the next night it was like 70 degrees, and then the third night we're in the 30s. I mean, we went from cold to hot to cold, so I mean, that was kind of an experience too.
And it was rough, that really, really cold, rainy night, nonetheless.
Yes. With
close to 200 people.
Yeah.
To control. It was, I mean, how many staff members did we have there? Like, 10?
Oh, we had a lot.
I think we had 10 only, so we still had a lot. I mean, because we had 200 people a night. And you would think with all those bodies we would have been warm, but no.
But when we're standing outside and all spread out, it was just weaving and bobbing between all of us.
Well, you know, like they say, 47 acres. That's a huge place.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, that Missouri State Pen, I'm so looking forward to going back there. There was so much activity and so much. It's such an active place that no matter where you go, you get those weird feelings, like in the dungeon in the main in building number 4, and then you go downstairs into below the what do you call it, death row, or even up in the women's portion where several of us got bloody noses for no reason whatsoever. It was just.
We had one guy that he ended up leaving and going to the hospital. You remember that?
Yeah,
the guy from Russia,
the kid from Russia. It was the Russian kid. Yeah. I mean, look at me and Shannon. Look what happened to us. We were walking over to the gas chamber, and right there where they had the basketball court, it sounded like somebody was having a basketball game going on as we're walking.
Yeah, it sounded like someone was playing.
Yeah, and we were looking like, there ain't no one here.
There's no windows there.
So Shannon, go ahead, Michelle.
Needless to say, we walked a little faster.
Shannon, do you know the story of that area down that parking area down below where we drove in through and then drove up the gate? You know
I know inside the gate, like where the gas chamber was. Like I wasn't that where the factories were, where they made the shoes and stuff.
I'm going to go to a different spot where cars were parked right there by when we pulled up and we had to stop and wait for them to come unlock the gate. Right there under that parking area, by law, they are not allowed to dig up that parking lot ever.
Is that where the graves are?
That's where the tuberculosis graves are, and they don't know how many bodies are buried there.
It was cholera.
It was cholera.
Was it cholera? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they were told that there's so many bodies there, they have to leave it alone. They can't dig it up.
They can't disturb it. I think it's I think they said something close to 200.
Yeah.
And didn't one of the women there say that that's where there wasn't there a baseball field right there too?
Yep.
At one point in time.
Yep.
And they used to bring in the Little League teams. The prisoners would sponsor teams to play, and they would come in and play on the property. But what was interesting is moms were not allowed to come on the property because women were not allowed in the prison. It was too dangerous.
But their children only the dads could come. That makes perfectly sense.
Yeah. So only the dads could come and watch their kids play.
And in Missouri, I mean, we had a great time though. We had great people come. I mean, people let us use them as bait.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. We had a lot of people that would do that.
And I loved it that the police officers that came there actually kind of joined in and helped us get things riled up, and so, I mean, it was just the atmosphere itself, not just the activity, but just the people who actually came to that event. everybody was pumped to do something. And then when we started playing music, we started playing Motown.
Okay,
and,
what section of the prison were we in though? What wasn't that like a white supremacy side or something?
Yep,
okay.
it sure
Building
was.
4.
Yeah, but the guests wanted to do that. I'm like, we don't provoke, but they wanted to go all the way up, and spread out over all 4 floors and sing Motown songs.
And it sounded like we had a choir. I'm like, okay, this is pretty, but yeah, so just having that type of energy going through these buildings on top of what was already there, it's an exciting place. And I'm actually looking forward to going back too. We're going back, on the 23rd of this month?
Yep.
I don't want to hear it.
Yep.
I still think the funniest one out of the whole weekend was Building 4 in the segregation house, where the one that has the dungeon. There was sounds being made, and Tyler opened his mouth and said, "Hey, bang on the wall." And they banged on the wall and said, "Okay, if you bang on the wall twice, I will come up to the 4th floor." And he goes, "They're not going to do it." And we heard bang, bang. And Tyler turned white as a ghost, like, I have to go up there on that railing because, he's afraid of heights.
Oh, he's terrified of heights.
He had to go all the way up to the 4th floor and walk out to the railing itself because he promised he would.
Poor Tyler. And for the listeners out there too as well, like some of the infamous people that were held there, James Earl Ray was there at one point in time.
Yes.
Emma Goldman was held there, and I don't know, I know a lot of people I didn't know who she was until I looked it up as well, but she had actually influenced the founders of Planned Parenthood, American Civil Liberties Union, back in the day.
Yep.
So, I looked their names up and actually why they were in there.
Sonny Liston, the famous boxer, was incarcerated there.
Yeah, and Charles Arthur Floyd, also known as Pretty Boy Floyd.
Yep.
To take that stroll from the main buildings to walk all the way down to the gas chamber. It was a creepy walk. But once you get down there, it's actually, was it like one of the very few gas chambers that actually had 2 chairs in it?
In history, it's the only one that's known to have 2 gas chambers and to be used simultaneously to put a man and a woman to death at one time. It's
just creepy. And if the listeners could actually, if you guys get online and check out Missouri State Pen and look up pictures, it's an unbelievable place. It's so huge. You could, even if you went in as a private team, you couldn't investigate the whole place in one night.
No, and if you get a chance, anybody who's listening, if you want a really surreal experience, have one of the guards lock you into the gas chamber like they did to me. When they shut that door, oh yeah, Tom's awesome. I'm throwing a shout out to Tom,
God love Tom.
But I walked inside and sat down in the one chair and just looked around. And he went bye and shut the door, and I heard it lock. And then he just left out of the building and left me in there. So I got to sit in there for probably a good 15, 20 minutes, just kind of looking around and get the feeling of this is where some people spent their last minutes was sitting right where I was sitting. Now, I'm not going to lie. For a big guy like me, that chair was pretty dang comfortable. But it's just knowing the fact that you're sitting there, and this is the same chair that people's last breaths were taken in. It's really kind of surreal and kind of makes it almost a little humbling. Going, I get to walk out of here and go stay at the hotel here in a little bit, and they never did.
Right? They once they went in there, they never left that room.
Yep.
And I think it was close to 40 inmates that were put to death there.
Something like that. That's
like
close.
1937, 1989, something around there. It was close to 40 that were put to death in the gas chamber. Before they moved them all to, the new prison.
Yep.
And the majority of the ones that the pictures they have on the wall in there were mostly rapists and first-degree murder. I did see all that. But
even if you look at the whole history, the youngest person incarcerated in that building in the prison for murder, and he actually was put in for murder, was 13 years old, and he was put in the general population with everyone.
It was 13?
Yeah, 13.
Crazy. And speaking of investigating on cold nights, when Amy and Josh and I were at the sign-in table, and you got one door open on the right and one door open on the left, and that cool air is just coming right by us the whole time we're signing in 200 people. We were like frozen the way we were sitting there at the table.
It was pretty cold, but we had that big blanket we could huddle under. That was
I
kind
know,
of nice.
Tom brought the big blanket. Thank God.
No.
Was
No,
your
that
guys'?
that was me. We had
Kelly
that
said
in our.
no.
Kelly said no. That was my blanket.
What were you and Josh and Amy? What were you guys doing underneath this blanket? That's what I wanted to stay warm all together. What's going on here?
The same thing Josh does with Raggedy Ann.
Oh, hell no.
Uh-huh.
You really go there,
Again.
Michelle? No.
I went there
No.
again. That's where the
You need
vaginal
powder?
comes
Okay,
in.
yeah, I need vaginal powder. I'm 5'11", and Josh is what, like 4'2"?
We would have never seen him under
Baby.
the blanket.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
We didn't keep him down there that long.
Like
It
they
doesn't hurt.
say,
Keep him down there that long.
what goes on at Missouri State Pen stays at Missouri State Pen.
That's
Oh my
right.
God!
Or it stays on YouTube. I don't know.
I hope there's nothing on YouTube. You
Well,
guys are killing me.
okay, Shannon, listen to this around. What's your biggest experience and where?
That I actually witnessed or caught in review.
Yes.
Yes and yes. Well, witnessed or experienced would be at Randolph County Asylum. When I got scratched down in the basement in the kitchen area, Beth was talking. We were doing our history tour, and I happened to lean over the little kitchen island they had, and Beth said that I completely disappeared, like something dark had walked in between us, and she couldn't see me anymore. And I said, I'm right here in front of you. And then I felt something on my back. You know how, like, I know, well, obviously if you've been scratched, then you've felt this. But how you get scratched so bad it burns.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, that's what it felt like on my lower back. And so Ann was there as well, and I had her shine a flashlight. And sure as shit, I had 3 scratch marks, and the middle one drew blood.
Wow.
And Beth had said that at the asylum we had 3 crawlers, which are I forgot the word that Ian uses. They were never really human.
They were earthbound.
But I forgot elementals. Ian calls them elementals, yes.
Yeah.
But Beth had me guessing, like, what do you think, or who do you think scratched you? And I mean, I named all the spirits that we normally talk to or talk with, and she's like, no. And I'm like, well, the only one left. I was like, please don't tell me it was a crawler. And she was like, yeah. But she said that they crawled up my back as like a comfort thing, like they weren't trying to hurt me. I didn't know how to take that. But that's the first and only time I've ever been scratched. Now I'm gonna knock on wood. And then as far as evidence, our best evidence has came from Poasttown Elementary School in Middletown, Ohio. Full-faced apparition and the shadow figure running through the laser grid, all within a 45-minute session.
Wow.
So,
What about? Have you? When you're taking your pictures and you're looking at stuff, do you often what's your take on, and have you ever caught any orbs?
Well, our biggest thing, depending on the location, if you have a lot of guests walking around, we really roll out a lot of orbs. If they are orbs, we kind of roll out a lot of stuff as dust. Because as you're going to take the picture, right before it actually snaps a picture, you can see the dust moving across your screen before it actually snaps.
Yep.
So we say the majority of it is dust, but like the one orb that woman caught at Missouri State.
Oh yeah.
That was an orb that had blue tint to it, pink tint to it, and white. It was and it was huge. I mean, that was a big orb. Now that was an orb.
So we were in Gettysburg and taking pictures, and that's when I actually got I guess you'd be the first thing I've ever got. I kind of got a little excited about it. Took a picture of an orb, And I thought it was really cool until the next day we took a picture. I was just taking pictures in the daylight and caught an orb in the daylight. And it's all blue and got red tint to it, and it's kind of freaky, actually.
Still have the picture?
What's that?
Still have the picture?
It's on our website.
Yeah, it's on our website.
You guys want to tell them what your guys' website is so they can go in and check that stuff out?
Riverside, Iowa Paranormal dot
Org.
I don't remember.
.org.
Riverside, Iowa.
You can get
Go ahead, Amy.
get to it both ways. Org.com, because we have both of those. So
You have org and .com?
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So they can check that out. And do you guys have video and EVP stuff on there too?
You got a lot of our evidence. And I will have to confess, we have some bloopers on our.
Oh, be quiet about the bloopers.
Well, it wouldn't be like a good paranormal investigating session without bloopers.
Well, there's some thermal imaging bloopers. One in particular. I love you, honey.
Love you too.
I guess the easiest way to say it is if we're going to catch something and we catch bloopers at the same time, I haven't seen pretty much any paranormal people that still just don't like to have a good time doing this. So if we can't have fun and do it all at the same time, we're going to put those bloopers out there because sometimes those bloopers may turn into something else. You never know.
I'll tell you about a blooper of mine that I don't really like to talk about a whole lot, and I hope there's not like a crap ton of people listening. But and Beth even titled this "Moment," and it's on YouTube.
Say that one more time. Beth calls it a what?
Beth titled it "Shannon's Moment."
Oh, Shannon's Moment. Okay.
On YouTube. She was really quick to post it too. When we had Face Your Fears, we were out at Randolph County Asylum for the first time with Chad Lindbergh. For those of you guys that aren't familiar with him, he played in the original Fast and Furious as Jesse. He's a good friend of ours. Mm-hmm. He did a Face Your Fears out there, and there was only 6 of us that bought tickets. And we all went out and did a solo session in the basement, investigated for a little while. And then Ernie was also there, and Ernie decided to put a Bluetooth speaker in the closet. And he was in the bedroom, and we thought he was sleeping. And we're sitting there messing with the Kinect sensor, and we're all talking upstairs. And I was on the floor messing with my laptop, and all of a sudden I heard what sounded like a lion in a cage growl come from a closet. I had never crawled so fast on my knees and popped right up next to Chad and was flipping out.
What's it titled again?
It's called Shannon's
Looking
Moment.
it up now, are you?
Yes, I am. I'm trying to, but I can't find it.
Look up BAB Paranormal on YouTube. It's on our page.
See, we have YouTube bloopers too.
Yeah, it's not one that I'm it's funny looking at it now. When everybody else is real calm and I'm the only one that bolted across the floor on my knees. But I don't do it now. I don't run now. I've learned my lesson.
Well,
I'll still jump and scream.
Oh, we'll all jump and scream. But, sometimes when you're listening at evidence and you're, playing it back and then you stop and think, like, did I just say stuff like that? Did that come out of my mouth? Because you don't remember what you're saying during those sessions. And then when you listen back, it's pretty comical.
Well, not to mention your speech changes the more tired you get throughout the night.
Yep.
That's when the bloopers really start coming out.
Yep.
You're not paying attention to what you're saying. Yes.
And you'll hear it in playback, and you'll be like, "Holy crap!"
Well,
I
had
have
a
been really tired.
Yeah, I decided to do a conversation, try to get some EVPs, and I just got to the point where I even asked, the spirit, did you have gnats back in your day like we have gnats now? Were they annoying? And I'm like, what? Why would I ask about gnats? But yeah, that's where I was at.
I was about to say Bill's pop talk.
There's one better. We were doing a cemetery up in northern Iowa, and
They're already laughing. This has got to be good.
Todd, who was with us, which is Michelle's husband, knows the gentleman who was buried up there. He had just passed away not too long ago. And Michelle goes, Todd, where's that guy you know? Let's go talk to him. He's fresh.
And what's really bad about this,
it?
Shannon, is I get to listen to this stuff and try to find the any of the evidence. And so I'm listening to this, and I'm of course laughing my ass off because these guys are such squirrels. So I save all their little waves so I can play them back later and go, listen to this one. This is a doozy.
Now, do you guys have the bloopers on your website too?
Yep.
Yes, we do.
I've got to go check them out.
I think That's Fresh is on there.
And then we have every time we have the Phasma box, if Kelly's working it gets really snooty with her. She'll say something, and even going across, be like, really, girl, I'm telling you this. And you can hear it has attitude. It's hilarious.
Only when she's talking?
Only when she does it. There's one that we did we did a business, and I was so she was sitting in the closet, and I was going to the bathroom. So the closet wall, it was the bathroom wall too. And she goes to the Phasma box. She goes, well, she's going to the bathroom. You want to show her the way, and you hear this really snooty voice going, it's in the other room. And I lost it.
I mean, out of all the pieces of equipment that you guys have used, I mean, what would you consider your favorite piece of equipment to take?
I would say my favorite would be my flashlight. No, probably okay, my vaginal powder and my recorder.
Don't forget the vaginal powder.
You gotta make they want to be fresh too.
What about you, Kelly?
I like the Phasma box, but there are times that I like the recorder.
You guys have a Pandora?
No.
No, they're too dang expensive.
No. I've and even when you do have the money, if you do have the money, it's been a couple times where I have, but I'm like, do I really want to spend this much money on this recorder?
Well, like Michelle said, we're actually thinking about getting some of the old tape decks to do the recordings on.
Guests use those.
They are
We've
great.
had guests come with those.
I'd like to get a reel-to-reel with the mic, just like, Lorraine Warren, because that catches some awesome things.
I like the Pandora, and it's good to have sometimes, but then once you have it for so long and you're listening to playbacks, it's some of the guests can't hear that stuff. Your ears, you've heard it for a while, you're kind of trained to do it, to listen, to put the syllables together. Then you try and do it to guests, you try and let them listen to it, and
I think it's hard to understand or to really hear something on. And then you have to wonder, say, okay, it sounds like X, and then of course you hear it. So is that really what you heard, or is that, are you just being influenced by somebody?
Oh, who'd we lose? We lost Bill.
He
sounded like robots.
I think it was on his end, so I think he's trying to come back in.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we got about 4 minutes.
I just know that when we were listening to it, I think it was at Edinburgh, at Edinburgh, Josh had one. He was using it quite a bit, and it just seemed like it was so mechanical, and it was really hard to understand.
And sometimes you'll get a really good EVP, which, at Post Town, Beth and I've got tons of EVPs really clear. And then you hope that they're all like that at everywhere you go, but they're not.
No.
And that's the hard part of trying to make it understandable, I guess.
We got one last month I got it down in the basement in the Edinburgh with a bunch of people, and Michelle and I had a group down in the kitchen, and Michelle kept feeling that we were in danger. We shouldn't be there. And later on, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I was down with a group of people in the basement and got one. And all I asked was, I want to talk to the lady who was here earlier. Can you talk to us? Can you tell me something? And you got clear as a bell. We got a whisper saying she's dead.
Nice.
Yeah, because the whole time I was in the kitchen, I just kept getting this like a voice in my ear saying, "Get up, get out, danger, danger, get out." And I'm like, okay. And then they got that on the EVP, and that was on an old recorder.
Now, when you guys get that danger, get out over and over and over, do you guys ever just stand around and ask them why?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of guests that, if you're on free roam with guests and they hear that, they're like, okay, I'm leaving. They don't want to find out why they want them to get out. I mean, I can see they don't want to get hurt, but if we're not doing anything, if it starts to get bad enough to where they're continuously repeating it, then yeah, I would be like, okay, we're going to go out of this room, go to another room.
Well, and to be honest, I think actually we're a lot safer than we believe we are. And,
Yeah.
And that, there's that fear factor too, and whether or not, are you really going to get hurt? It's,
Right.
It's hard to know.
Oh, Phil's saying everybody's cutting out.
Yeah, everybody sounds good on my end.
Yeah, so far.
Well, I know we're getting close to, they cut us off right about 12 o'clock, right at 12 o'clock, so we only got a couple more minutes left. So just real quick before we jump off of here, I want to say a couple thank yous. There's a couple guys that have helped me out quite a bit and kind of helped support me into getting this show, and I want to give a big shout out to Donald Wisman and Dave Coots. I want to give a big shout out to Joe Savino, because without him I wouldn't have this radio show. And then, of course, Jimmy Bell and Paul Daniels, because they helped me out. They let me promote my show on their show. And then next week we're going to have Daryl Wisman from Poasttown Elementary School. And next week should be a good show, too. And I just want to thank all you guys, Amy, Bill, Kelly, Michelle, for you guys coming on. It's always a blast being around you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for
Thanks for having us.
It's,
A lot of fun.
I will definitely have you guys back on here again. As long as we're not talking about vaginal powder.
Okay.
Next time you see me, that'll be in my supply bag, too.
I would love next weekend when we're with Tyler, I'm just going to break the vaginal powder and put it in his hand. And if he asks what it's for, I'll say it's when you're doing one of your session.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being on tonight. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
I'm afraid of no ghosts. I hear it likes the girls. I'm afraid of no ghosts.